Welcome to the February 27th meeting of the Northampton Township Planning Commission. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for the men and women of our armed forces and first responders. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, tonight's meeting has 4 regular agenda items. First is the annual reorganization meeting. Second is approval of the April 2023 Planning Commission meeting minutes. It's been a while. Third is the preliminary and final plan of the subdivision and development of the Trinity minor subdivision. And the fourth is the consideration of a comprehensive zoning ordinance amendment. So that being said, why don't we start with the annual reorganization? And that's fairly simple. Each year, we switch positions around depending upon the volume of work that we've had from the previous year. Since we were fairly light last year, I'm going to maintain the chairman's position, Steve Saddlemeyer. Mark Shapiro is going to accept the vice chair position, and Patrick McWigan is the secretary. So that being said, do we have a motion?
I move that we appoint Steve Saddlemeyer as chairperson of the Planning Commission for 2024.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Okay. I move that we appoint Mark Shapiro as vice chairperson of the Planning Commission for 2024. Do I have a second?
Second?
Votes?
Approval?
All approval?
Approve?
So approved. And I move that we appoint myself, Patrick McGuigan, as secretary of the Planning Commission for 2024. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So approved.
Okay, very good.
So we're set for 2024.
We're good. We can have a meeting. Okay. Second item is the approval of the April 2023 Planning Commission meeting. That's the last time that we'd gotten together. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April?
I move that we approve it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good, so moved. All right, on to our third and the meat of the program tonight. We have a presentation, I assume, from the folks of the Trinity minor subdivision. Would probably be a good idea for you to just take us through in general. We were talking about it prior to. I understand you've had a number of meetings with Mike and the consultants concerning lots of the questions that have come up. But why don't you just take us through and show us or indicate to us what the project is all about?
Will do. Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name's Sam Costanzo. I'm with Van Cleef Engineering. With me this evening is Scott Mill of our office as well, on behalf of Trinity Realty, regarding their minor subdivision of a 6.3-acre parcel that's landlocked in your southern quadrant of this township, closer to lower Southampton Township. The property, as can be seen on this exhibit that Scott's pointing out, is shaded. To the north is the Mill Creek that the property butts right to the center of. To the south is a railroad tracks. And all the way to the east is Bridgestone Pike, for which the only way of accessing this landlocked piece is to extend Bridgestone Drive, which today has a cul-de-sac street. It's a private street, but then it further continues on to a stub street that ends in close proximity to this tract boundary. And that street is somewhat narrow, gravel road, but it does serve homes along that corridor. So this applicant is proposing to extend that street into a permanent cul-de-sac bubble at the end, which provides good access for emergency services, which this street doesn't have today. Along the, as you pointed out, we did have a number of staff meetings with the township. The stretch of road that's gravel, there's not much that can be done to improve that condition. Little pockets of area for turnoffs are proposed with some additional widening to it, but certainly not to the level of township street standards the way they are today. It's a private road. Our portion of the extension, however, is going to be a 24-foot wide road with curbing. It has stormwater management below the roadway. The site was evaluated from an environmental standpoint. It does have floodplain soils, woodlands, steep slopes, wetlands, all of which are able to be complied with. We're not infringing upon, except for woodland clearing, but we'll abide by the extent of woodland clearing limitations. So with that said, we have received township review letters from all your consultants. Township engineer's letter being most comprehensive, covering the matters at hand. All the items in that letter are will complies. We have a new list of waivers that we have copies of to present to you, which are the matters that were discussed before, maybe a couple of new ones.
Before we get away from it too far, can you just provide a little bit of orientation as to like where is Bridgestone Pike on there and the existing road? Okay, and that goes,
Off the sheet,
and where does it go towards the bottom of the sheet?
It goes under the railroad.
Okay, okay,
Towards the railroad, makes that sharp right.
gotcha.
Down to the new circle.
And the existing road is okay, and yeah,
You can see the existing
Yeah.
11-lot subdivision there. The existing cul-de-sac ends here.
okay.
And as Sam mentioned, there's a gravel road extending back to about here, and then the proposed extension of that road.
And are you saying you're going to put curbs on that
On the proposed extension piece
only?
only. The stub street, to do that, it would be just
No, I-
make it too confining.
I understand that. Okay.
Along that corridor as well, there's 3 other tax parcels that will be able to take access to that new portion of roadway frontage. Those, our office was also engaged to prepare plot plans for, which we actually received some feedback. Apparently, you're adopting a new ordinance provision to maybe change stormwater management to prevent rain gardens and go for underground systems, and we've already reevaluated those, and we believe we can convert what we had on the plan as rain gardens to underground facilities. So with that said, I'm happy to field questions relative to the review letter of the township engineer, go over the waiver letters, or any matters which you would like to discuss.
Okay.
I'll just, for the record, note that there's 2 additional waivers that they're requesting, both, it looks like, from the stormwater management ordinance. And again, they were kind of in light of discussions that we've had with the engineering staff post our letter issuance.
The additional one that maybe we didn't bring up or discuss was street tree placement. After we met with the authority on sewer and water line separations and proximities, in order to separate those out, we had proposed street trees as required. Technically, this portion of ground, we can do the street trees around our cul-de-sac and bulb at the end, but along the other parcels of which we depicted street trees once before, the utilities will prevent those from being installed, but this entire site has quite a bit of woodland and vegetation. So these trees that we had along here just won't work with sewer and water separation distances that the authority is looking for. And then we thought about maybe street trees between the curb and right-of-way, but we're concerned about that root system So we're looking to not provide those. I'm not quite sure if it needed to be a waiver since this is the track, but this is off-site, but we're asking for the waiver for trees along this portion of the roadway along that side.
But still committing to the street trees along that cul-de-sac perimeter?
Yes, we can do those.
Okay.
We have the room.
So this is the 24-foot wide section here, and then it narrows back down to 12 feet all the way out to the existing cul-de-sac.
It extends, there's a match line, so this is part of it, and then it continues down.
Okay, all the way up, yeah.
Actually, the 24 extends a little bit
A
further.
little bit further.
That next section.
What was the thinking there? I mean, what was the, why go from the 12 to the 24 just in that
Well,
short section? Was there some reasoning behind it, or?
There was early on discussion. I think your requirement's to have 31.
Correct.
So we came down to 24, which provides two-way traffic in and out without the portion of Stub Street, really. A car has to wait, maybe tuck into a driveway, let somebody by. So we felt that width provides an adequate width to do that. It's not really intended to be for parking, but quite frankly, if a car parked on there, you'd have 3 8s, 8, 16, 24, and you'd still be able to navigate two-way traffic by.
And you're proposing to upgrade and replace that culvert as well as part of this project?
We have to cross it, there's a inadequate sized pipe there today, so that needs to be replaced. That's on the plan as well.
So the road, if I understand you, at the end of the cul-de-sac that's there now, will be 12 feet and then widen to 24 to the project?
No, there's a length of about 110 feet or so,
Okay,
where it'll be 24 feet wide,
okay,
and then it'll narrow down to about 15 feet.
okay,
The reason for that, there's a series of telephone poles, utility poles along here, that it would be cost prohibitive to move all half dozen or so of those poles.
Okay.
So the idea was to narrow it down to 15 feet for about 580 feet in length. There is an area where there's existing stone, kind of a pull-off area that could be allowed for 2 vehicles to pass. And then there's another 420 feet where it opens up to 18 feet. And again, there's another pull-off area about halfway through that.
okay.
And then once you get, if you can see from there where it kind of bends to the left a little bit, that's about where it transitions back to 24 feet.
Okay. I believe it's 3 properties that exist along there past the original cul-de-sac, so they'll benefit from that.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Just for the record, you will be developing an HOA for the people that on the new road? Is that?
Yeah, the road's intended to remain private, so an HOA
Yeah.
will need to be created for that roadway extension. How the existing portion of the road that we're doing some minor improvements to, whether they become a part of it, I'll let the applicant and the legal counsel and board of supervisors decide how that all works.
Are the existing residents, do you have any idea what they feel about becoming part of that HOA? Or?
I don't. They were present at, I was here at a zoning hearing board meeting for one of those off-site lots that I talked about earlier. A lot of residents came out for that meeting. They voiced a lot of concerns, certainly made them aware of the land development process. All those questions will come up again. Maybe Eugene wants to address that?
Yeah, are the owners here
Yes.
tonight? Oh, okay, okay. You need to come up and just utilize the microphone, or a microphone.
So just to speak on the neighbors, we contacted all of the existing residents here. So We have the 11 homes here, and we had a few other residents in between. We met with them, it's been a while now, I want to say sometime in November. They all came to our office. Everyone but I think 3 or 4 attended. And we discussed HOA with them. The way that we're going to do it is the new subdivision or the new homes will have their own HOA that will then have a cost-sharing agreement with their HOA. There's already an HOA in place for those homes, for the 11 homes on the full street. The homes in between on the dirt road, they don't currently participate in the HOA. Can't force them to. That's whatever the case is. But we will be jointly have an agreement with these 11 homes, through our attorney to figure all of that out. So we committed to that. We also committed to any damage to the roadways during construction, we will then repair. So the HOA, damage to roadways were 2 main concerns. I'm trying to think what else was. Doing the best we can to widen the road. And we explained to them, as Scott just did, about the Pico poles and how close some of the resident lots are right on the road right now. So I think those 3 were their main issues. They were concerned about trash trucks getting in, and I think that the width that we're proposing now will certainly help with that, and the cost sharing for sure. So we did meet with all of them, and like I said, I have a list in our office. I forgot to bring it. I think all but 3 or 4 attended. So every other resident we did meet with.
Thank you.
Yep.
Before you leave, is there a mechanism in place down the road in the event one of these neighbors does not want to join the HOA and yet is taking advantage of the HOA? A la snow plowing and/or?
Honestly, no.
No?
Like I said, these 11 homes already participate. They
Yeah,
have
that I can understand.
They have it in
Yeah.
place. There's nothing that, I'm not sure we can do anything to force the one, there's going to be another 1, 3, 4 residents in between to comply.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about hard feelings or, and
I'm not quite sure
something down the road. I
what we
don't-
can do.
Well, either way, they're taking advantage of the services that are going to be provided if they don't,
Yeah,
even if they
I
don't
mean,
participate.
they have no incentive to,
Right.
honestly. So, yeah,
And you're prepared for that?
we understand that. yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the public sewer and water out there, or is it well?
We are extending public sewer and
You
water
are.
from the existing cul-de-sac,
here.
right there.
Over that.
And the 4 new proposed hydrants, I believe it is.
Is it
Sounds
four?
right.
I think
Yeah,
right.
give or take, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cost involved for this. It's almost getting to a level of where it may not be able to move forward, is what I'm being told by my client, so it's at that tipping point.
When you add it up, right?
Right?
Question about the exit and entry, primarily the exit onto Bridgetown Pike from the road, out there. That's a little hairy, to say the least, because you're right on that bridge abutment. Is that the one that's right next to the?
Here.
Yeah. Anything going to be done either on Bridgetown Pike or on the road to try to help people get in and out of that?
Yeah, I don't.
Anything that can be done?
I didn't think that there was anything that really could be done. It's been there for
Right.
a long time. People have been navigating it.
I'm just thinking you're going to have a lot more, you may double, not double, but you're going to have a number of additional.
There'll be 2, plus we already know there'll be 3 possibly on that, so there might be 5. I'm hearing about a lot in between that's not a part of this at all, but I don't know if there's much that really can be done.
And there's been all those homes there on Bridgestone Drive all those years they've managed. It's just, put your head on a swivel.
Yeah, you
Make
gotta-
sure. They come around under that bridge, though. I understand what Steve's saying. I recall the Valley Stream Inn, maybe not directly across the street, but up, and it finally succumbed to the flooding problems from the creek over the years. And that's why I was surprised to see, additional building going on there. But
Any other comments from the board that, Janet, you have anything you want to?
No, I'm not.
You good? Anything else that anybody wants to bring up? Is there anybody from the public here tonight that,
Just one thing to note, again, with their updated waiver request letter, they are requesting 11 waivers for the record, and it looks like they did modify one of their waiver
Yeah.
requests to be, it's section 22-612.1.c, which is now for a driveway with minimum of 12 feet in lieu of the 10 feet, I think that was previously shown.
yeah,
on the
that was
plan.
one of the,
That
one
was
of the,
a recommendation in your letter, Amanda, so we
in lieu of the required
factor that
20.
in and
Yeah.
yeah.
factor that
So
in
that's been
even on our
covered.
stormwater on the 3 rain garden lots.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Amanda, anything else you want to?
No, and again, as we had discussed, there's, several stormwater management comments to sort through. We've had several conversations, meetings, discussions since the issuance of our letter, so I do feel there's a path forward. They have committed to doing underground seepage beds on those 3 individual lots in lieu of the informal rain gardens that were discussed previously. So, they've indicated everything else is a will comply, so we would see no further issues for concern at this
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Any other comments? No? Do we have a motion?
I'll move. I move that we recommend to the Board of Directors preliminary final approval of the Trinity Realty Minor Subdivision and Land Development, SDL 23-1, subject to compliance with the Township Engineers Review Letter dated December 19th, 2023, the Township Planners Review Letter dated December 7th, 2023, and the Township Traffic Engineers Review Letter dated December 19th, 2023. It's also recommended that the requested waivers be granted. Good luck, guys.
Well, thank you for that. If I could clarify on that traffic letter, I think he may have referenced doing something to that intersection, which I don't know if we really could do, so as a 100% will comply, I'm not sure whether we'll be able to
Flashing
meet his
signs say,
needs.
be careful, be careful.
Yellow lights.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would add that recommendation is
Yeah.
to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, we need a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? No? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having this special meeting for us tonight.
Do we need to reference this, the revised one of these? Okay.
And I can give an overview of this ordinance.
Mike, don't forget to turn on your, yeah. Mike is going to provide a overview of the ordinance that was under consideration, and we'll let him provide some of that information.
Correct. The next item on the agenda is a comprehensive zoning ordinance amendment that's based on a periodic review of township ordinance requirements. Specifically, this ordinance eliminates obsolete definition, allows decks and patios to encroach a maximum of 25% into the rear yard setback. This is a resident-friendly provision that will eliminate the time and expense of variance requests while still maintaining a significant setback to protect neighboring properties. The ordinance also allows structures such as gazebos and pool houses to meet the same setback as detached garages, thereby resulting in a more consistent and uniform application of the ordinance. The ordinance also allows for the keeping of chickens in all zoning districts subject to specific criteria. Currently, our ordinance requires a minimum of 5 acres in limited districts within the township, which is restrictive given the trend for people to raise their own chickens. As a result, this amendment will address this issue while also including significant safeguards within the ordinance that will protect neighboring properties, such as not allowing roosters. Finally, the proposed ordinance takes special event criteria and removes them from the zoning ordinance into a separate section of the code, which will establish a more comprehensive process to administer these events for our staff. As required by the MPC, this ordinance is being forwarded to you for your review and recommendation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, as it's scheduled for the supervisors' meeting tomorrow night.
Do we have any comments, concerns, questions? If not, do we have a motion for approval?
Yeah, I move to recommend to the Board of Supervisors an amendment to the Northampton Township Ordinance, Chapter 27, for the purpose of amending sections related to definitions, accessory buildings and structures, permitting the keeping of chickens in all zoning districts, subject to specific criteria, and deleting special event provisions.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? None? So moved. Any other business anybody has for tonight's meeting?
Just want to say glad to see everybody.
Yeah, it's been a while. If so, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.